The Rev. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was an activist and a Baptist minister best known for his leadership during the American Civil Rights Movement. He took on an early role starting with the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott. A fierce advocate racial and economic justice through nonviolent resistance, Dr. King helped to organize pivotal civil rights protests, including the March from Selma to Montgomery and the 1963 March on Washington, where he delivered his now famous I Have a Dream speech. Born on January 15, 1929, King showed remarkable oratorical talent early in life, joining his high school's debate team and winning prizes in oratorical contests. A brilliant student, he entered Morehouse College at age 15. He went on the study divinity at Crozer Theological Seminary and received his PhD in theology from Boston University in 1955. He guest pastored at different Boston congregations during his time and often met with other ministers to work on sermons and discuss contemporary social issues. Through King displayed a innate talent for oratory, he organized the importance of formal study. This led him to take courses in preaching every semester during his 3 years at Crozer Theological Seminary. By the time of the 1963 March on Washington, King had garnered a national reputation for his work organizing nonviolent protests against voting restrictions, lack of economic opportunity, and racial segregation. As the leader of Southern Christian Leadership Conference, he called attention to indignities suffered by African Americans in the United States in general and the Jim Crow South in particular. He received a Nobel Peace Prize in 1964 for his nonviolent approach to racial justice and approach. He later appealed to anti-Vietnam War activism and a broad movement aimed at economic justice for all Americans. He was assassinated on April 4, 1968, leaving behind an international civil rights legacy. The speech. So begins the revolution. Dr. Martin Luther King, now famous I Have a Dream speech, delivered on August 28, 1963, nearly 100 years after the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. The United States Constitution outlawed slavery, guaranteed equal protection under the law, prohibits states from using race to deny citizens right to vote. African Americans continued to face discrimination and a lack of access opportunity across the United States. The problem was particularly public facilities and peaceful protests against segregation. Like sit-ins, boycotts, and marches, we often met with brutal, suppressed, with a civil rights pending Congression, Dr. King framed by Lincoln Memorial addressed his speech to over 2,500 people during the March of Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Part of the long history of civil rights struggles, King's speeches draws on influences of early abolitionists and black thought leaders like Frederick Douglass and Webb Du Bois, calling for nothing less than social, economic, political equality for all citizens, and for repudiation of separate but equal doctrine that had stifled and promise of legal gains made during previous fundamental American documents throughout King's speech is firmly situated on longer historical arc expounding on themes of freedom and equity and appealing to the United States of America to live up to past promises. Though deeply rooted in the past, the speech is nevertheless contemporary. Its urgent calls for unity and nonviolent action in the face of oppression and brutality set an importance to tone to overall movement which struggled at a time with internal forces advocating a more radical response. A call to action for racial justice, a pivotal movement in American history, I Have a Dream, is a rhetorical master renowned for both its craft and contribution to the civil rights. The scene, more than 250,000 people joined the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom on August 28, 1963. At the time, it was the largest demonstration to take place on the National Mall. As you read the speech, think about how the setting and audience influence the speaker, structure, and stylistic choices. That was Martin Luther King.